Welcome back to another episode of Q's Corner. Got a special topic I'm talking about today. The topic today is becoming the you that you see in your dreams. That meant a lot to me. I actually dreamed about this last night. And I told myself, by any means, I'm going to work on the person I am today so I could become the person I see in my dreams. So today's topic is becoming the you that you see in your dreams. Wow. That's a strong statement. I want you guys to say it to yourself. Becoming the me that I see in my dreams. When you sleep at night and you dream, what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are your goals? And then that major component is, what are you doing to accomplish those dreams? What are you doing to achieve the things that you see yourself doing? Say it to yourself again. Becoming the me that I see in my dreams. When you sleep at night and you dream, what do you truly dream about? More than likely, we dream about success. We dream about living in fairy tale homes. We dream about having substantial finances. We dream about a lot of different things. But the reality of all things is, the reason why you're dreaming about it, because it's meant for you to have it. And that's the reality. See, you keep allowing the dream to overly stand over your life. The reason why you dream about those things all the time and those accomplishments are because those are the things I feel like that are meant for you to have in life. We have to understand, how do we pull out these dreams and make them our reality? So now, this is the goal we're going to have today. How do I pull that dream out of my mind or out of my sleep and make it my reality? A lot of people looking like, that ain't gonna happen. Right there, you already lost. I remember as a young athlete, and when I played sports, I would go to games and I would say, as soon as we get off the bus and the person would say, damn, they bigger than us. Automatically, I never wanted to go to battle with a person that thought like that. And the reason why I never wanted to go to battle with someone that thought like that is because they psychologically lost before we even started playing the game, because they pretty much submitted to everything. And a lot of us, we submit to life. We submit to mishaps. We submit to circumstances. We submit to battles that are in our life to test us for the next stage. So for instance, you cannot expect to get to the next level if you're not willing to take the hardship a course before you get to the next level. So you want to get to the next level, but yet and still, you don't even want to fight through the moments or the hardship that it takes you to get to the next level. I don't think that's suitable and feasible for a wise person. I feel like a lot of us tend to overly indulge on our mishaps or our shortcomings, but yet and still we never acknowledge ourselves for the things that we overly or overachieve from. When you look back at your true story, you know what your story is. You know what your story was. A lot of us don't give ourselves enough credit. Sometimes you have to be that person that's rooting for yourself. Sometimes you have to be that person that encourages others and that encourages yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have to be your biggest fan, but also your biggest critic. And the reality is, you can't be a harsh critic because you have to grade sometime on a curve. Because everyone has shortcomings. And when you understand that you have shortcomings, you're comfortable knowing that I might not get the 100 on this test. Because in school we had multiple subjects. We had math, we had global studies, we had science, and we had English. So let's just say English is my weakest attribute or my weakest class. Me getting an 80 in that class is equivalent to someone getting 100 that is very good in that class because of the fact that I had to work harder to get the 80. But a lot of us don't give ourselves credit for that. We look at the numbers. We look at the bank account statement. Sometimes you have to realize that the things you have overly accomplished or you've grown from and you've been through and the experiences that you've been through, they prepared you for this very moment. But yet and still, we tend to overly indulge on, I'm not where I want to be today. See, you're not going to be where you want to be today because of the fact that you still thinking the way you was thinking where you were yesterday. So if you can't look at where you've come from today to now, you'll never be able to accept yourself. A lot of us haven't accepted ourselves. We haven't really given ourselves enough credit, because of the fact that society tells me if I don't make six figures and I don't have six figures in my account, I have no relevance in life. And I disagree with that statement. Because at the end of the day, you might not have plateaued to your capabilities, or you haven't seen where you can become or where you can go. Because a lot of us too busy watching where we were at. The past is the past. They say you may stumble forward if you keep looking backwards. So let me say that again. You may stumble forward if you keep looking backwards. So if I'm walking forward, but I keep looking back, I may stumble because of the fact that I keep staring backwards. Sometimes you have to be willing to let go some of your demons. In them dreams that we dream about, you see a lot of success. But let's talk about the nightmares. A lot of us have nightmares that we have to get over. We have to get over our shortcomings. And the shortcomings it's the psychological shortcomings that a lot of us have. I can't. I won't. I'm too scared. I'm fearful. There's a lot of things that we say that comes full circle in our life because of the fact that we say it too much. We say things too much that come full circle in our life. So basically, you manifest hardship on your life. You start saying stuff to yourself like, life is too hard. You say stuff like, oh, I wasn't meant to be successful. You say stuff like, I'm a gutter, so I'm supposed to be in the gutter. That is not true. You manifesting that on your life by speaking those things into existence. You tell yourself that you were made for struggle for the rest of your life. And I think once you start changing your verbiage and the way you speak, then things will start coming full circle. For instance, I talk like this. I know for a fact I'm going to be wealthy, and I claim it, and I say it with conviction. And not only do I say it with conviction, I say it with my actions. So my actions manifested because of the fact that I do everything that I say I'm going to do times 10. And I embrace challenges. I embrace circumstances. I embrace failures. I embrace mishaps. I embrace it all. So you have to be willing to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly in order to obtain where you see yourself becoming. Now, again, let's say that phrase again. Becoming the me that I see in my dreams. When you dream, who do you see? When you sleep, you lay down and you wake up, what kind of life do you see yourself? Like how? Right on my timeline, I'm curious. What do you see? You're not your thoughts, you know what I'm saying? You're speaking facts. And that's what he said, Isaac, you're right. Your thoughts, your actions should be 10 times more than just your thoughts. Because everything in life starts as a thought. You know what I'm saying? And then you manifestate it with the actions. So everyone can say like, yo, I want this and I got to get to this level. And that's a beautiful thing to think like. But here's the catch. What are you willing to do to get to that level? Everyone knows this is the beginning of the race. How do I get to the finish line? And by strategically coming up with a plan every day and writing out your steps and writing out your mishaps and writing out your savings and writing out your goals, these are the way you start manifesting things. And then you have to get around people that make it a lot easier to do it because relationships are everything, And that's just the realities of life. There's a lot of things going on right now I could discuss, but I choose not to overly indulge myself in those things. I see it. We all know what's going on. If you got something to say it on my timeline. I'm curious how y'all feel about what's going on right now. I think it's crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. As a black man in America, only a fool can't see what's going on. And it didn't just start, and that's just the reality. It didn't start now, and it bothers me. It bothers me a lot because of the fact that it's sad that it had to get all the way to this level for attention to even be on the particular matter. Another man has lost his life, unjust. And it's sad because, someone lost their father, someone lost their son, someone lost their uncle, brother, grandson, different facets, friend. And it's sad because we tend to not see what's truly the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is you can't change certain people from looking at certain people a certain way, because the reality of life is they were taught to look and think at people a certain way. I'm not a racist person, but I will say that racism is taught, it's bred, and it's you just keep breeding and keep feeding it, and eventually, you have yourself a racist person. You have all cultures that are racist, and they look at each other as different. But you can't know God if you don't see everyone as your brother and sister. And that's all I'm really going to talk about this particular matter. If you guys want to say something, I'm looking at it. It's how much you make monthly. Those people have to die off. Only way racism disappears. I disagree with that statement, because I feel like you can show people different, because that's like saying a person that was born in poverty who thinks a certain way can only stay in that world, when you have to show people difference. You can't just tell people difference, because some people don't see difference. So when you tell them to be a particular way, if it's not something that's normal for them, they're not going to see it that way. So for me, I don't think going around and killing off people is going to change the situation. I think what's going to change the situation is by changing the intellect and the way that people perceive each other. Like, people perceive a lot of black people as violent, aggressive, because society or the powers that be are showing these particular sides of us on TV and social media platforms. So you can't really fault a lot of people for seeing us that way when this is the way they show us on TV. The moment somebody get mad, they expect a black woman to get enraged and get ratchet and ghetto. And that's not how all black women handle situations. All cops aren't negative, and it's just reality. Everyone is not the way you perceive them all the time. A big black man is not always aggressive. It's just what it is. I think in reality, in order for us to change the narrative of life, is to look at each other and treat each other the way we want to be treated. And I think that's the true narrative. I think by seeing you as my brother, me seeing you as my sister, it changes everything. Malcolm said, we can all change and we can change the system, but we have to come together and do it as one. This is where I totally agree, my brother Malcolm. Malcolm definitely is right. You can't say killing off people, because then we go back to cowboys and Indians. Then we go back to pretty much an eye for an eye. And I think we're way past that point. I think it's more so us coming together and teaching each other how to perceive or receive each other. I don't want you to look at me because I happen to be a big black male to look at me as an aggressive guy, when I'm actually very humble and I'm very respectful. I do have an aggressive side, but I choose not to show that because there is no need. But when it is need, I will. you know. But that's not the persona or perception of me I want the world to see. You know, I try my best to be humble and respectful and treat others how I want to be treated. So whether a person decides to have a perception of what they perceive of me, I always come off as the mediator or the positive person first. You understand? So I'll greet the person with a handshake or a good morning gesture, or a good afternoon gesture, or a good evening gesture, because of the fact that I am a representation of what I want to see in the world. So in reality is, I can't get mad at the world for being a particular way when I'm not helping it. I'm actually making it worse. You know, LaToya said, you cannot judge a book by the cover. I agree, Toya. You know, how you saying that? Melissa said, united. I agree. Dimitri said, no, I didn't mean killing off people. I didn't mean the older generation dying off. I agree, but, you know, it's still in the younger generation. There's a lot of people, age doesn't factor ignorance, and that's what racism to me is a very strong facet of ignorance. And a lot of people are very ignorant, and they practice it, and then their children been taught it. Because you can go out to some places in the Midwest and down south, and you can see that racism is very much still alive, and it's still very prejudiced, and it's still very active. And the KKK still exists as we speak. You know, it's just what it is. I'm just speaking the truth, you know. And then the narrative is there are a lot of Caucasians who aren't racist. And I'm just going to say what it is. There are a lot of them who actually respect black people, who actually help black people. And they don't see color, they just see people. And there are black people who aren't racist either, who just see people. And then there are black people that are racist also. And that's just the truth. You know, they're very racist, you know, because it's racist to say that all cops are negative. That's bad. You put a whole class of people in a box because of a job. That's crazy. You know, and I haven't met all the cops in the world for me to say that. You know, I have met enough cops that aren't negative for me to say that all cops aren't negative. You know, and that's just my reality. So, you know, there are bad apples in every batch. And it just so happens that a lot of people are getting flack for the fact that someone or some of them are bad people. You know, you have very respectful cops. You have bad cops. You have good cops. You have bad black people. You have good black people. You have bad white people. You have good white people. So reality is all things is you can't class a whole group of people and say, just because you're a police officer, you're negative. I disagree with that. And I think that's very unfair to them. And that's just me being fair. I'm not a cop myself, but I still see that as very unfair because I wouldn't want somebody to judge me based on what I do for a living because of someone else's actions. I don't think that's fair. And that's just me speaking honest truth. You know, but Dimitri said, these older generations are clutching into the racism for dear life. They came from the era, and that's all they know. 50 years from now, it won't be as bad. I agree, but the thing is, we have to do something about it today, you know, and me, I understand completely why all the burning up cars, and I understand it completely because of the fact that a lot of people are pretty much tired of what's going on amongst our people, and they just, this is the way they feel like they can represent themselves by getting their attention at this point. And I feel like a lot of people saying to themselves, they wouldn't hear us when we peacefully protest. So now we're going to march with violence. So I understand what's going on, you know, and for me to portray or act like I don't understand why, I'm fooling myself. I can understand because if I ask you nicely to do something and it's not happening and you keep still violating my rights or violating my friends or my family rights, now it has to finally go to another level. I guess people are just tired of, they're just talking. You know, they're just tired of it. So I get it. D, what up, D? So you say, okay, LaToya said, are someone judging you for where you live? See, that's a myth. And the reason why I say I never judge anyone for where they live. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the hood. And I'm proud. Where I grew up made me the man I am today. But here's the catch-22. The problem is just because you live in a certain area. I hate when people overly are too proud that they live in these areas that are very deprived, meaning the sunlight is not beaming on those areas so much because of the fact that they suck those areas dry from its natural ambiance to the point where there's not a lot of hope in those communities. And the reason why I say there's not a lot of hope in those communities are because the role models in those areas are mostly people that are negative, that are into street activity, that are doing things a certain way in life because that's how. See, what I've learned is to understand people psychologically. Some people may feel like that's really their only way out. And it's sad, but it's not sad because someone failed them because they never showed them there's more to life and they can do so much more. So in reality it's easy to laugh or point the finger or look at somebody or frown upon somebody. But it's harder to say to somebody like, maybe this person didn't know any better and they genuinely don't. And you can't let age be the determining factor for the level of maturity some people are. I feel like some people just haven't matured because they're in environments that's not allowing them to grow. So there's a saying that I like to say. It says that if you put a fish in a tank, it will grow to the size of the tank. But if you take that same fish and you put it in the ocean, it'll grow 10 to 15, maybe even 20 times the size because of its ambiance and where it is. And it has to get to a certain size in order to survive. So what I'm trying to say is people's brains are underdeveloped because of the fact that they're in certain areas. And these areas aren't allowing them to spread their wings or not allowing them to grow to the size of the world. Because the world is a lot bigger than a block, a neighborhood, a hood, a strip, a town, a county, a city. The world is so much bigger than those things. And a lot of the times when I tell people, you take the world globe and look on the world globe and tell me, do you see your neighborhood on the world globe? And the reason why you don't see your neighborhood on the world globe is because the world is so much bigger than that area. And a lot of people need to understand those things because at the end of the day, the world is bigger than what we can see. And a lot of people need to expand their horizons. They need to travel a little more. And you don't have to physically travel to a place. You can psychologically go to places. You can educate yourself. Like, it's crazy. Me and a guy was talking today, and we were talking about Egypt. And it's sad that a lot of people believe that Egypt is in the Middle East. But in reality, Egypt is in the continent of Africa. So a lot of people still believe that Egypt is in the Middle East, but in reality it's in Africa. And it's just sad because like there's a lot of things I feel like we can grow and learn how to articulate ourselves better. And just because you grew up in a certain environment, to a certain parent, to a certain situation, that doesn't have to be the determining factor on your life success. You know, that's not reality. You know, there are a lot of people and a lot of roses that grow in concrete. And I tell a lot of people every day is the reason why you see yourself in your dreams a particular way is because these things, you're capable of achieving these things. You're capable of making these things happen. You're capable of obtaining. You're capable of doing a lot of great things. But the problem is we put a lot of stigmas and stereotypes on ourselves. You know, it's sad when I meet people, they say stuff like, you know, black people are always late. That's not true because I'm not always late. I'm always on time. So when I hear people say those things, and I'm very much so black, you know, those are the things that bother me. When we allow ourselves to fall victim or believe things that they've put on us as a way of life and it is normal. You know, that's not true. Like, I'm not always late. I'm always on time. I take care of my children. I'm a responsible black man. Now, I'm not going to say never late, but I'm very, very, very conscious on time. You know, I value my time a lot, Neil, and I try my best to always be on time because I feel like the people that are late in life all the time, they'll be late for their funeral. So they don't even know they're behind because of the fact they're always late. So they don't even notice that they're late at times because this is just who they've become. So I think they allow themselves to be that way. So now they're set that way. So now you embraced it and you telling yourself this is normal, and it's not normal. It's what you accept as normal. Everything in your mind that you accept as normal will become a part of you. So whether you tell yourself, you can make, the mind is so strong. Let me talk about this thing real quick. The mind is so strong that you can make yourself believe whatever you want. If we live in a time where a person that isn't successful can make themselves believe they're successful. As long as they put the right imagery around themselves, the perception is that they're successful. And the reality of all things is you're not going to ever become the dream you see yourself every time you sleep. It's because of the fact that we spend too much time trying to portray it already, opposed and chase it. Chase your dreams. Believe in yourself. Understand that you are your worst enemy. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, you are your worst enemy. Everything else can be removed from in front of you. But you have to believe in you first before anybody else can believe in you. So you can't expect people to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. How are you going to achieve greatness when you're scared of your own greatness? How are you going to achieve success when you're scared of success? How are you going to achieve buying a home when you don't even think you can do it? And reality is changing your mindset to know that you're more than capable of doing anything. And no one is greater than you. You just as equivalent to everybody else. I think everybody is just as strong. It's just ones that do it and ones that talk about it. It's just reality. You sit back and watch people do great things, or you're going to be the one that's out there making great things happen. You have to choose. It's a choice. Everything is a conscious decision, and it's just what it is. Latoya, I appreciate you, and that's just what it is. Believing in yourself, knowing that you are so much worthy of more, and putting yourself in position to achieve that much more. And that's just reality. But I'm a slide, and I appreciate you guys. Every time you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, am I becoming the me that I see in my dreams? Ask yourself that every day. Am I truly becoming the me that I see in my dreams? And be honest with yourself. Don't get so caught up in perception, and don't get caught up in image and fooling people. Become the you that you see in your dreams. Motivate yourself. Encourage yourself. Build yourself to the greatness where you can walk with your head high in any room. Whether you're the poorest person in the room or you're the richest person in the room, you still walk with your head high because you love the person you see every time you look in the mirror. See, that's what people don't like. When you fall in love with yourself, people don't like those kind of things. And this is why they talk about people, because you love who you see. You love who you becoming. You love everything about yourself, you love you. And the moment you love yourself is when you start embracing things about yourself and you learn great things about yourself. And as you learn things about yourself, you'll see that you're capable of doing a lot more than you thought you were, because you're challenging yourself. You're putting yourself in a space where you're open-minded to receiving new information. See, the thing is, a lot of people, they're not receptive of new information. They blocked out everything like this. So anytime you speak to them, nothing gets past because they're like this. So how can you be receptive of new information that can change your life? Because the world is always evolving. And if you're not evolving with the world, you'll get left with the times. And a lot of people get left with the times because they're not evolving. They're too busy spending their energy on what was opposed to what is now. It's beautiful that you were the high school football captain, but now you're not. Now it's time to take a next step in life and start finding new things that's in you that you can become. It's always, those are great stories. You ever watch the show Married with Children? Whoever watched Married with Children, write me. Married with Children is a story of a guy by the name of Al Bundy. Al Bundy is a shoe salesman. Al Bundy always talks about his high school glory days. And he sticks his hand in his pants and he sits on the couch, cracks a brew, and he talks about what he used to do. A lot of people are stuck on being who used to. Those days are gone. They're over. Become the new you and be willing to accept the new person you're becoming. You know, because this new person is the person that's going to save your future. This person is the person that's going to put you in positions that you can have a greater tomorrow. You know, I tell people, invest to have a greater today. Invest to position yourself. Invest for tomorrow. And I love to tell people that because to me, those are the things that matter. You know, we overly indulge on the things that were opposed to the things that are now. You know, I can't keep looking backwards and expect my future to be so great. You know, again, they say you'll fall if you keep looking backwards, walking forward. And this is what you have to understand. Stop looking backwards and start looking forward to the days of tomorrow and be grateful for them and learn how to position and understand how much more you have in you. You know, I appreciate everyone who always check in with me. You know, follow the YouTube channel at Q's Corner, QS Corner on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at QDABoss516, QTheBoss516. Follow my YouTube channel. You know, I appreciate all you guys for always showing love. You know, the DMs have been amazing. You know, a lot of people have been asking stuff like, you know, you're so inspirational. And I'm going to be honest with you, you guys are my inspiration. The support I get from you guys is what inspires me to keep doing these. And I'm going to continue to keep doing them because of the fact that I feel like I'm trying to plant a seed, you know, and as well as working on myself at the same time because I'm nowhere near to the magnitude of what I feel like I can become. And by me challenging myself, I'm challenging you guys too. You know, please follow me on YouTube at Q's Corner and follow me on Instagram at QTheBoss516, QDABoss516. I appreciate y'all. Anybody that have any questions, you already know, hit me. And I definitely respond back. Peace.